These are the planes that won wars. Proud veterans of the days when heroes fought in the skies.
They're like time machines. As soon as you grab the controls, you've got that instant touch back to the past.
In hangars and workshops across Britain, engineers and enthusiasts are fighting a desperate duel against corrosion.
It's only glued on. I'm sure it'll be all right.
And the clock.
I'll be pretty gutted if we don't make it.
Their mission? To return historic military aircraft to the skies.
The hardest thing is finding the parts.
From D-Day vets to jump jets.
As a little lad, you go, mum, can I have a fixed kit?
Bloody fantastic.
From legendary lifesavers to Edwardian flying machines.
I've been told I can only fly it as high as I'm prepared to fall.
But it can be an unpredictable business.
If we have a catastrophic failure, then come and try and rescue us.
You're taking off thinking if the engine stops, where are you going to land? I mean, I've had 3 engine failures.
It takes serious money.
You need a cool £3 to £6 million to get a good Spitfire.
And total dedication.
Minus 28. Some of the tools are freezing up.
15 minutes of holding a screwdriver, you can't feel your fingers.
This time on Warbird Workshop, the unique fighter.
It's exceptionally rare being the only one on planet Earth at the current time.
Being rebuilt by engineers determined to stop it being overshadowed.
We don't really mention the Spitfire word in here.
To return it to the sky, carrying the daughter of its wartime pilot.
To go up in that Hurricane will just be absolutely amazing.
Like your victory roll in your father's honour. Woo!
The skies that were the backdrop of the Battle of Britain are dominated by tower blocks and passenger jets today. But on an airfield in southern England, one of the fighters that saved the nation in 1940 is being reborn.
This is a Mark I Hurricane, and like all of the Hurricanes at the moment, this is a single seat. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a second seat in the back with a totally unique modification, which we'll be designing ourselves.
Engineer Andrew Wenman and his team at Hawker Restorations are the world's leading experts in rebuilding the legendary Hurricane.
This is what we specialise in, and we really do wholeheartedly believe that the Hurricane has earned its place in history and deserves to be out there being seen by members of the public.
Andrew and Chief Engineer Peter Johnson have a deadline. The 80th anniversary of the Battle of Britain in September 2020, just a year's time. And hitting it will take all the team's skills.
So up there we have Graham. Anything there is to know about a Hurricane, you ask Graham.
1,360 horsepower.
We have Nick there, does a lot of the stripping down, a lot of the painting. Brian, he's our wingman.
You've only got small access holes, so yeah, it's all torch and mirror stuff.
And then there's Rich and Phil, and they work on systems, installing the engine, coolant, pneumatics, hydraulics, all of the plumbing side of it.
We're all petrol heads in here, we all love tinkering.
BE 505 is one of fewer than 20 flying Hurricanes left in the world. And the project means sawing through part of its wooden fuselage, the section wartime technicians nicknamed the doghouse.
When we actually get to amending the live aircraft, modifying the live aircraft, we'll start with making a cut in the doghouse to remove this section so we can get a second seat in there, a second pilot or passenger. Essentially, we're taking an airworthy aircraft and making it unairworthy.
It means redesigning the Hurricane's complex control system.
This is the area where we will be putting the second seat. At the moment, we've got the battery tray in here, the radios, an oxygen bottle. So we're going to have to relocate much of this and put a second seat in.
They're using this mock-up as a test bed.
This will be vital in the programme of modifying the aircraft to a two-seat. Without it, we wouldn't be able to embark on the project, really, because if we make any mistakes, if we need to change anything, if we need to re-engineer something, it will all be done on this first. So before we make a cut, before we change anything on the live aircraft that can't be undone, we'll make sure that it works on this first.
And there are no guarantees that once it's done, the Civil Aviation Authority will allow it to fly.
It is a big risk, but we've got specialist design engineers involved and a great team here with more experience in the Hurricane than anyone else in the world. So, you know, we're confident that we can do it, but it does pose a bit of a risk.
14,500 Hurricanes were built. In 1940, when the Battle of Britain raged in the skies over the home counties, they outnumbered the Spitfire by almost 1,000 aircraft. Yet, in the newsreels, there was only one star.
Tally-ho!
Leaving the Hurricane a bit part in the war story, even though it was responsible for 55% of the enemy planes downed by the RAF.
For me, the Hurricane is the unsung hero. It took a lot of punishment, it shot down a lot of aircraft, but other aircraft tend to get the glory. So it was working behind the scenes, doing all the graft.
Andrew and his team hoped to help restore the Hurricane's image. And throughout the winter, the team redesigned and rebuilt parts of 505, untouched since she was assembled in Canada in the 1940s. It gives the team a unique insight into the terrifying reality of taking this plane to war.
Some of these pilots were so young and had so little experience on type, and then they were expected to get in them, fly them and fight a war. So really, you can't imagine what it would have been like and what they would have been feeling. It would have taken a huge amount of courage.
Outclassed in air-to-air combat after the Battle of Britain, the Hurricane became a formidable ground attack aircraft. Armed with cannons and bombs, it was a tank buster and anti-shipping aircraft.
The Hurries take to the air, and it's not long before they see their target below.
Sergeant John Brooks was one of those pilots. His daughter Eugenie still has his logbook.
I always think it's so neat and tidy the way he's written everything out. For example, here you can see on July 23rd, 1942, he flew a bomber Hurricane, L, and he was up for about 35 minutes, and during that time he attacked the E-boats and flak ships in the harbour.
Sergeant Brooks flew with 174 Squadron during the disastrous Dieppe raid, and against flying bomb sites in France and Holland. Pilots often had to live under canvas and fly from primitive grass airstrips.
Here are my dad's flying boots. They're a bit weathered now, as you can see, but these are the ones that he just took home, took them off, put them in the wardrobe and left them. And they were there for at least 40 years. And then he moved in with Mum. Mum wanted to throw them out, but he said, no, I'll keep them. So I've still got them now.
Eugenie inherited her dad's love for speed. She became the Met's first female biker, escorting the royals and the Prime Minister. And then she was among the first women to carry firearms. It created a bond with her dad, who became an airline pilot after the war.
He did suffer from nightmares. He'd wake up screaming. I can remember as a little girl him waking up in the house screaming. He couldn't watch any of the Battle of Britain films or anything because the noise of the machine gun fire would bring it back. However, I joined the Metropolitan Police, and after a couple of years, he obviously saw that I had grown up and I'd experienced a few things myself, so he started talking to me about stuff. And I also become more aware that my dad, who couldn't work out the remote controls on the television, had flown Spitfires and Hurricanes in the war, and he was someone to be very, very proud of.
In rural Suffolk, the plane Eugenie's dad flew is about to be reborn. 505 has been repainted in the markings of 174 Squadron and Sergeant Brooks' call sign, L for Love. But there's still work to do.
Today's job is fitting this brake lever to the spade grip. This is the rear spade grip and the two-seater. Because we're having passengers who may just be passengers and won't be flying, we don't want them being able to operate the brakes because that would tip the plane up on its nose. We have actually incorporated the fire button for the machine guns as part of the lock. Obviously, you know, the machine guns don't operate, but we're using this so that we've got a lock-in function on the brakes. So this lever will fit onto the spade grip like this, and we can push the lock in like this, he says. And that will stop the operation of the brakes.
The team have access to wartime spare parts. The rest, they must make.
We've tried to make the aircraft as authentic as possible, so where we could use original components, we have. I think we must be coming up to nearly 500 modified components and new components for the aircraft. We're still using the same type of machinery that they would have had during the war.
Today, the team have to mill a part of the new brake lock.
You see I've done a little sketch of it with some measurements on it, and we're going to make that out of this piece of aircraft grade S80 stainless steel. So we'll go over to the lathe and machine this up.
The new part must be accurate to within 1/1000th of an inch.
There's a spade grip.
A tight fit is critical.
Carefully screw it on, and there we go. It's years of practice that gets you able to turn stuff out quite quickly. That screws into there, and then the handle should slide on there, like that. Tomorrow I could be welding. The following day I may be making pipe work up for an oil system, and it's all one-off stuff. And the company is very lucky that they have all these different trades to hand on the shop floor. There isn't really any jobs which we can't tackle. There you go, perfect. And then you get to this point of the job where it's exciting because you see the plane coming together.
In the cockpit, the second seat is now temporarily in place. The plane's electrical wiring system is being rerouted around the space to be taken up by a passenger.
A small job. Once we've got this cover in place, we can then start P-clipping the rest of these new wires in place. This is the throttle rod between the two throttles, the front and rear cockpit. So this moves backwards and forwards. And we don't want it rubbing on all of these cables. So we've got to get all these cables tucked away neat and tidy.
The battle to return 505 to the skies is on schedule. So far. It's September 2019, and on Elmsett Airfield in Suffolk, the rebirth of Hurricane 505 has taken a big step forward.
So what we have here is a two-seater Hurricane. It was, up until recently, a single-seater Hurricane, and now we've converted it into a two-seat. You see in here, we've had to relocate some parts that were in the area where we wanted the second seat, so there's the batteries in there, the regulators in there, and that's where the guns would have been originally. This is where the cut was made into the doghouse, which is the wooden structure. So what we've done is we've cut that away. We've put a second emergency door in there. You'll have full flight controls in the back, so you have ailerons, elevators, rudder. So if I move that from side to side, you'll see the front will also go at the same time. Rich is working on the brakes. Mark and Graham are finishing off the canopy and anything else that needs to be buttoned up before we run the engine, which, you know, is a big milestone for us. It means the aircraft's complete and really ready to go flying when the modification gets signed off. So we're very excited about that.
Today, the team are fitting the extended cockpit canopy, which they've designed from scratch.
With a new canopy, we have two bays of glazing. Each canopy is about 6 inches shorter than the originals. Basically, it's the same apart from the rear of the front canopy shrouds over the top of the rear canopy so that there's air tightness between the two canopies. When the cable is pulled, it pulls the bobbin through the pin so the canopy jettisons and the pilot can then jump out of the aeroplane. It's instantaneous. Just pull the canopy back a little bit, pull the lever, give the canopy a hoof. Once the air's under it, it will just rip it off like a pair of pyjamas when you're diving in a swimming pool.
A lot of complex tasks still lie ahead. Today, the team are completing work on the landing gear.
I was in on Saturday and I think I spent the whole morning putting 2 tiny bolts in.
It must support 3 tons of fighter on a shock absorber of oil and nitrogen gas.
Hopefully we don't get any oil or nitrogen coming out anywhere. That's it. Turn the bottle off.
It was designed by 1930s engineers who'd never built a retractable undercarriage before.
The undercarriage is lifted with an engine-driven hydraulic pump. Obviously in the hangar here we can't start the engine up, so I'm going to use the secondary system, which is a hand pump. The hand pump would be used if the pilot lost hydraulic power from the engine, if the hydraulic pump on the engine packed up, so he can physically pump the undercarriage up and down. The pilot, while he's doing this, he can watch the undercarriage come up through the windows down here. So if you look here, you'll see the latch come up.
For the Hawker Restorations team, this is a labour of love.
It's been a long time coming. We've spoken about doing a two-seater Hurricane for many years, and now it's quite enthralling to see what we've achieved.
Not every job you get to work on a piece of military machinery that, you know, is part of history. Hurricanes are the underdog, really. You know, the Spitfire. We don't really mention the Spitfire word in here.
The strength of the Hurricane was the design, the original tubular structure of the fuselage, and then it's covered in fabric, so any bullets, if they didn't hit anything important, they would just go straight through and out the other side and not cause a problem. The main thing was to keep them flying, and quick repairs were ideal.
While generally outperformed by the Spitfire, the Hurricane could outturn its deadly enemy, the Messerschmitt 109, at some heights. German pilots often refused to believe they'd been shot down by a Hurricane. The RAF called it Spitfire snobbery.
The Hurricane had to do the body of the work, and it accounted for about 70% of the kills that amassed during the Battle of Britain. So it's very solidly built, whereas if a Spitfire suffered damage on one of the formers because of its monocoque construction, it could possibly have been terminal damage.
But back in the hangar, the team are focused on the famous fighter's future.
The first person will be the first person to fly in the back of a Hurricane in 70 years. Will it be the only flying two-seater aircraft in the world, so it is very significant for us, obviously, being that the Hurricane is our specialty. The historic value of it and what it did during the war, so people will be able to actually fly in an aircraft, you know, the general public, and experience what it was like to fly in a Hurricane.
But 505's future relies on the Civil Aviation Authority signing off, one of the biggest modifications to a Warbird in years.
Hopefully there's nothing too bad that could go wrong. If the CAA have any concerns about any of the parts we've already put in deep within the structure, that would then cause us an issue, but we don't expect it to, because the stress engineers have been through it and they've signed it off already. If
the vital approval isn't received, 505 could be grounded before its first test flight. The team are nearing the end of months of work. This stage is Hurricane 505's first big test.
So it's early November and we're final preparations for having an engine run. Mark and Graham have been working on getting the aircraft finished off, the canopy on, fuel, oil, coolant, etc., and getting it all ready to run this afternoon.
That'll give us a chance to check all the systems are functioning, that we don't have oil leaks, coolant leaks or anything else.
Many of the Hurricane's vital systems lie behind removable panels. It meant servicing the plane in the field was a simple task for its ground crews.
Very easy. There's only 3 fasteners. They'd be in and out of there every time it went up in the air and back down. They'd be opening those doors. You know, easy access. They just pop into those plates. Like so. That's it. Done.
There's a few system changes that are happening, so we'll be testing those out as well, make sure they've worked. In the grand scheme of things, they've been relatively minor, but the fact that we're running the aircraft means that it's complete. So it is one of the big milestones we've been aiming for.
And another landmark has been reached. The team has just heard the Civil Aviation Authority has approved the modification, meaning 505 can fly again. But today's test may not be all plain sailing.
We could have coolant leaks, could have oil leaks, could have fuel leaks. May have an issue with the generator system. There's no reason to believe there'll be a problem with them. But you never know.
505 is coming to life again.
So the battery's now connected, the aeroplane is live, we've got green lights to tell us that the undercarriage is down and locked. This is a generator warning light which will go out once the engine starts, and we're just doing a final check now to make sure that all the electrical systems are functional.
505 is going to be pushed out into the open air for the first time since they started the conversion 2 years ago. The team know the engine was okay then.
When we use an engine in a newly restored aircraft, it would have just gone through a full overhaul, all new parts where necessary, etc., stripped down right to the bare bones and built back up again, and they're not actually run. So this one's been going for 150 hours. You know, it has been flying. So that makes life a lot easier. We know the systems work, we know the engine works.
But the team are about to hit a problem. At Elmsett Airfield in Suffolk, Hurricane 505's engine is about to be tested for the first time in 2 years.
We're just tying down the tail of the aeroplane. It's just in case, for some reason, the engine was to run away or overspeed, the aeroplane can tip onto its nose. So you always, as a precaution, tie down the tail.
Our chief engineer, Peter Johnson, he'll be the one actually starting the aircraft up. Graham and Mark will be there with fire extinguishers at the side in case anything goes wrong.
Once the engine starts, obviously, we're checking that there aren't any fluids coming out of the engine. Obviously, there's oil, fuel and water. Once the system's pressurised, it's always possible that something could fail, and obviously we station people around the aeroplane to check for that, because we may see it before the guy in the cockpit does. Fingers crossed everything goes to plan. We like these to be no drama.
All clear?
Clear.
Clear.
The Merlin is reluctant.
Carburettor diaphragm could have dried out.
Fuel is getting to the cylinders, but not enough.
Suggest we got an obstruction in a fuel pipe somewhere then, but I can't see how because the pump's pumping it through all right.
Smell the burning oil.
It's part of the delight of restoring old aircraft. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
All right, we're going one more time.
Go now.
Still got a heavy drip.
It could be an issue with the carburettor when they overhauled it. We won't know until we've investigated.
It's back to the workshop.
You could have had a major oil leak, coolant, fuel leak from somewhere.
Clear this side.
So, yes, it was inconvenient, but it was hardly a disaster.
It's February 2020, and Hurricane 505's engine problem has been identified.
The engine was running too lean. The fuel mixture from the carburettor wasn't correct, so we've made an adjustment, and that now matches the engine, so problem solved.
They are now on the last stage of the restoration.
It's putting the spinner cone on the front.
Today, another major hurdle must be cleared, the compass swing.
Are you ready for us to push, Graham? Yeah. 3, 2.
All aircraft must, by law, have a compass to allow the pilot to navigate.
Run it up as far as we can, then adjust, then we'll have a greater degree of adjustment on the next one.
We're adjusting the aircraft instrument to read
accurately. We want it within about 3 degrees, really. Go back to you a bit, Graham.
But the new metal added during the conversion is affecting the magnets in the compass.
3, 2, 1. Whoa!
I reckon that'll do you.
Well, we just keep checking all the points on the compass.
A smidge more. You know, I've got it asked about. It was diametrically opposite.
For Andrew, it's a frustrating operation.
Back by about 1 degree, sorry.
Okay, hold it there. That should be south.
Yeah, that looks spot on, actually.
All Warbirds must earn their keep. Built for £4,000 in the 1940s, 505's now valued at £2.5 million. And 100 miles away in Kent, she's attracted the attention of one of the UK's biggest operators.
Golf Alpha Victor begins information Delta QNH 1017.
The Heritage Hangar at Biggin Hill is home to the world's biggest fleet of flying Spitfires. Now, it wants to add 505 to its fleet. And 505 is in big demand,
Good morning, Fly Spitfire.
with customers booking to fly in the only two-seater Hurricane in the world.
Certainly at the moment, it's all about Spitfires, and we've got more Spitfires here than we believe anywhere else in the world. But historically, obviously the Hurricane's got an amazing connection with Biggin Hill. It's not the poster boy of the wartime effort, but actually it did arguably more. So we're super proud that we might be getting a two-seater version here.
It's spring 2020, and at Elmsett Airfield in Suffolk, it's a big day for Hurricane 505.
Today is the culmination of 15 months of hard work, of design, engineering, problem solving, and we can't wait for it to happen.
For team leader Andrew, it's been a long time coming.
We've had about 6 to 8 weeks of delay due to the weather, but we've got a bit of a gap in the weather now, so we're going to give it a go.
We'll just push it out, sun shining.
It's great, it's everything we've been working for. It's going to be fantastic, and even for me, I'll actually get to go in the back of one. So, I will be one of those ordinary people queuing up to sit in the back of one, so I'm very excited and can't wait, really.
Filled up with fuel, oil, all the pre-flights are done, so it's okay to go.
Veteran test pilot Stu Goldspink has flown dozens of Warbirds, including single-seat Hurricanes. But this is a first.
He'll walk around the aircraft, he'll just do a little pre-flight himself, they all do. After that, he'll just launch off, really.
I've flown, I think, 11 of the Hurricanes flying in the world. It's about 15, I think. So I'm looking forward to this one. And hopefully no surprises. I've never flown a two-seat Hurricane. In fact, there haven't been any in the world since the war, and they were modified in the field. So the series of flight tests that we're going to be doing for about 5 hours will just check the handling of it, and having the extra seat in the back is going to make a difference.
Stu is taking off into the unknown. Test pilots rely on handling notes to guide them on a new plane. In this case, they don't exist. And the installation of the second seat may have fundamentally changed the way the Hurricane flies.
Oh, I couldn't be prouder. They really have put in the long hours and the effort to get this where it is today and on time. So, yeah, very proud and very pleased.
Very good, he's going well. He's staying up for a fair bit of time, so he's quite happy with it. So all good so far.
If he did have a problem, he'd be back here as quickly as possible. So he's up there flying around, so we can only assume good things.
He's probably having fun now. He's got the feel of it more.
505 has made it back after a 10-minute flight over Suffolk. Time for test pilot Stu to deliver his verdict.
The canopy doesn't really shut and seal. Try it now. Yeah, it just has a gap in it, in the air. What else? No red lights to begin with, but they came up. Put the wheels down, back up again, and they came up.
Okay.
So, nothing to do, nothing to do there. Very Hurricane-like, yeah.
All went well, back safely, couldn't ask for more.
It's funny with a seat in the back. Okay.
Do you want that? Or are you going to jump?
No, I'll be all right. I'll
You're going to jump
down.
Yeah.
the old technique. And I went to 240 miles an hour, so... No, it's fine, yeah.
Yeah, it's right.
They're nice. Yeah, can't tell any difference. In fact, if anything, they're slightly better, but...
Oh!
Maybe.
There you go.
Maybe.
Couldn't have gone any better. I mean, the aircraft has taken off, landed safely. The pilot was very happy. And the handling was good, and he said possibly even better than it was before. So well, it couldn't have gone any better. We're so pleased.
I do a lot of two-seat Spitfire rides, and everyone loves the Spitfire. But now there's an opportunity to love the Hurricane as well.
It's September 2020, 80 years since the Battle of Britain, and at one of the UK's most iconic air bases, a lone Hurricane is on her way home. 505 is reporting for duty as a passenger plane in time for what will probably be the last anniversary experienced by the survivors of the feud, the fighter pilots who beat the Luftwaffe in the skies over southeast England.
It's a fantastic aircraft. It is the only one in the world, the only two-seat Hurricane flying, and you can see there the aircraft is really not distinguishable from a single seat. It's just got an extra part in the canopy at the rear there. Other than that, I mean, when it's actually flying, you really can't tell the difference.
Can I pass this one down to you? There we go, to you.
At the Heritage Hangar, the engineering team are learning the ropes of the Spitfire's less glamorous sister. Alex and Fred will be looking after 505.
Oh, the conversions, yeah, it's really well done. It's really, really nice. Really, really nice job. It's certainly a different aeroplane in terms of construction and everything else with the tubular structure and all the wooden down the back. You've got to be a little bit careful where you poke your screwdriver and where you don't, and where you stand and where you don't, but on the whole, it's very nice.
The snags the test flight revealed have long since been rectified, but Alex quickly finds a design flaw. Hawker's only included vital components.
This is the biggest pain about bloody Hurricanes, is you sit on a seat and then below the seat in a Spitfire is a floor. On a Hurricane, below the seat is some framework, some more framework.
Some tubes.
Some tubes.
The radiator.
Then the radiator and the radiator boat. And one of my friends who flies these, he grounded one for half a year because they had to take the radiator boat off to find his pencil because he got in it to go flying and dropped his pencil. So if you don't mind me, I'm going to go find my screwdriver in shame. All I've got to do is find the path down without getting the magnet stuck on some steel. Like I've just done. Hey, now we're cooking on all burners. Right, now what I've got to do is pull it up really gently without smacking anything. And what happens is Houdini goes... Here's one I found earlier. We got one.
Now that Alex has retrieved his screwdriver, 505 is ready for her first passengers. And among them is Eugenie, daughter of wartime Hurricane pilot Sergeant John Brooks.
We do have Spitfires, we have Hurricanes, and we have the 109, of course.
Hangar historian Robin is about to introduce her to 505, now painted in the markings of the Hurry bomber that her dad flew.
Dad used to describe the Spitfire more like a thoroughbred.
Yes, that's
whereas
true.
the Hurricane was a more solid, reliable cart horse in a way. But
it could take more punishment.
How did Dad fit in there?
Dad would have sat there,
wow.
obviously.
Of course, yes.
Obviously, because she's two-seater. He would have sat there.
So
But
how
yes.
original
Right.
are the instruments in there?
Absolutely, as it was.
So my dad could have touched that.
As it came out the factory. Yeah, he would have been sitting in there. That's all right. It's a pleasure.
But he had a protocol that he would do as he hit the enemy coast.
Right.
And one bit he would lower his seat. He said,
yes.
I'm not quite sure what good it did because that was one of the few metal bits within the whole Hurricane. Is that correct?
Right. Yes, absolutely right. Yeah.
She's almost a living thing, isn't she?
Yeah. Yeah, she is really.
I feel like I'm patting a horse almost.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Eugenie is about to take off on a once-in-a-lifetime flight in her dad's plane. She'll be flown by Anna Walker, who is one of a handful of female Warbird pilots.
He said the Hurricane was such a good, strong, reliable girl, as he called her, and he said that the Hurricane taught him to survive.
There's stories of the Hurricanes coming back after missions, looking like a sieve, completely shot at, with control surfaces missing and all sorts of things missing, and they would still, carry on flying.
But obviously there'd be three of us today. There'd be you, me and Dad, so it'd be a bit of a squash, because I've got his photograph, which I'll be taking up with me.
The Biggin Hill team have had to get used to operating a bigger, heavier aircraft than their Spitfires.
It's the only one in the world, so it's been a learning curve, very, very different setup to the Spitfire.
Eugenie is going to be flying in the skies over Kent her father once knew so well.
Hi Eugenie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hear you loud and clear.
Can you see me in the mirror?
I can.
Have you got any questions?
No, none whatsoever. Let's just do it.
Okay. Discove Hotel Hotel India India with information India 997 request start.
Golf Hotel Hotel India India Biggin approach start approved.
My hands. Lift up.
Oh, the smell of her is gorgeous. Oh my God.
What about that?
Perfect.
Go for India, ready for taxi. So the forward visibility is not brilliant, is it?
No, but...
On the ground?
No.
That's why I'm weaving from side to side.
Oh, I see. Yeah, my dad said that you have to go from side to side because the nose is so high.
Yeah. And so if you look at the rudder pad, you see the way they're moving?
Yeah, yeah.
So what I'm using is a thing called pneumatic differential braking. Look how close to London we are.
I know. Is that Canary Wharf over there?
Yeah.
Golf in danger. I'm ready for departure. I'd like to do the run-up on the runway, if I may.
One thing that hasn't changed in 80 years is the Hurricane's vital actions list.
So pre-takeoff checks. I got the trims all in the right place.
Good.
The throttle friction is tight. Mixture is on auto-rich. The pitch is fully forward. And we're ready to go.
Excellent.
Have a great flight. Have a great flight, both of you.
Yeah. Wow.
Just going to wind it up.
Did you feel okay with all the gear I was moving?
I'm feeling all right.
See how difficult it must have been to spot the enemy.
I know.
Okay, Ginny, the brake is coming up. I'm going to brake sharply to the left.
Yeah, yeah. I'm all with you.
Now we're doing 200 miles an hour. That's what we like to do. If I take my hands and feet off the control, look. The plane stops to slide by itself. So at this point, you have control.
Oh my God.
You have control. Look, my hands are up in the air.
Wow, yeah.
So what I would like you to do is very, very gently just apply a little bit of forward pressure to lower the nose. While you fly and looking for the enemy and doing everything.
I know. How they did that, I've no idea. Very sensitive controls, isn't it? Very sensitive. Hello, Dad. Woo!
Hey, good. How was that?
Wonderful. Up here with Dad.
Anna is flying her passenger towards the wartime airbase at Manston, where Eugenie's dad was stationed.
I knew you would fly just like that. I knew you would just pick it up like you've done this all your life. It really is amazing. I can see your face. This is so brilliant. Your dad must be so proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have control.
You have control.
And you'd like me to do a picture roll in your father's honor.
Yes, please.
Yeah? And here it is. That's nice. Brilliant.
It's time for 505 to return to Biggin Hill.
Say goodbye. Say goodbye to your Hurricane. The undercarriage is going to go down now, okay? And Julie, I'd like your hands and feet away from the controls now, okay? Yeah, okay. All the way.
Copy, the India surface wind 2608 knots, runway 21, clear to land.
Clear to land, go Bingo.
Landing a Hurricane requires pinpoint precision. And sometimes, even the experts have trouble.
Trust me to do my worst landing on camera. Oh, damn it. Now I can relax. Woo.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Eugenia's friends and family have come to share her experience. It's been a flight to remember.
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing to fly in Dad's airspace. Anna took us down to about 500 foot and we flew down Manston airfield with the waggly wings bit. I'm just so happy. So happy. And there were, as I said to Anna earlier on, there were three of us up there, you know, me, Anna and good old Dad. And there he is. So it's brilliant. He was a man of few words. He'd nod his head and say, well done, girl. She's beautiful. I absolutely love her. And I can see why my dad loved the Hurricane. I really can. Absolutely wonderful experience. So, yeah.
Perfect, and she flew like a dream, as I knew she would. Yeah, she flew incredibly well.
Seeing a Hurricane once more on the apron at Biggin Hill is equally moving for the hangar staff.
I love having the Hurricane back at Biggin Hill. It is such an important aeroplane for this airfield. Everyone associates with the Spitfire, understandably, but it is just as important as the Spitfire, if not more. They did a lot of damage to the Luftwaffe, more than any of the Spitfires did. There's a lot more of them. It's symbolic with this place. There was far more Hurricanes here than there were Spitfires.
A nostalgic flight back in time doesn't come cheap at up to £5,000 an hour. But for many, it's an experience that's beyond price. A chance to fly in the slipstream of the men who took the Hurricane to war.
I am so very proud of my dad, but not only of my dad, but all of his mates who didn't come home, who died so young.
These are the planes that won wars. Proud veterans of the days when heroes fought in the skies.
They're like time machines. As soon as you grab the controls, you've got that instant touch back to the past.
In hangars and workshops across Britain, engineers and enthusiasts are fighting a desperate duel against corrosion.
It's only glued on. I'm sure it'll be all right.
And the clock.
I'll be pretty gutted if we don't make it.
Their mission? To return historic military aircraft to the skies.
The hardest thing is finding the parts.
From D-Day vets to jump jets.
As a little lad, you go, mum, can I have an airfix kit?
Bloody fantastic.
From legendary lifesavers to Edwardian flying machines.
I've been told I can only fly it as high as I'm prepared to fall.
But it can be an unpredictable business.
If we have a catastrophic failure, then come and try and rescue us.
You're taking off thinking if the engine stops, where are you going to land? I mean, I've had 3 engine failures.
It takes serious money.
You need a cool £3 to £6 million to get a good Spitfire.
And total dedication.
Minus 28. Some of the tools are freezing up.
15 minutes of holding a screwdriver, you can't feel your fingers.
This time on Warbird Workshop. 2 rare relics of the 1930s are prepared to fly again.
That's as dead as a doornail.
For a team of young pilots determined to keep old warplanes up where they belong.
With 100-mile-an-hour wind buffeting you, all the noise of the engine right in front of you, it's quite a sensation.
With the help of a veteran engineer.
And now you get these guys, all they do is sit there and twiddle a button and turn the radios. They're not flying a bloody aeroplane anymore.
The wild coast of Northumberland has been the backdrop of battle since the days of the Viking raiders. And in the 1940s, it was home to the RAF's biggest Spitfire school, training pilots to fly the legendary fighter. But now, on the wartime airfield at Esshot, a team of young pilots are determined to bring back the base's glorious past.
So the plans for the place really is turning it into a bit of a working museum. For us, it's all about having interesting vehicles, interesting aeroplanes, and being something we can actually share with people as well.
I don't like having aircraft in the corner that don't fly anymore. Everything that's here is going to fly. We'll have events, and really just to bring everyone in and see the airfield, see the aeroplanes would be a really special thing.
Airfield owners Sam Woodgate and Richard Pike are assembling a squadron of vintage warplanes, like this Oyster Spotter aircraft that flew in the Korean War. Friend and airline pilot James Arnott will help fly them.
So it's been offline for quite a while we're heading through all the work, but we're finally getting there. A lot of the delay's been actually waiting on parts because things are really hard to get hold of.
Now the team are about to buy another rare Warbird and borrow a second.
We've got our eye on two aircraft down at Wickenby, an naval aircraft N3N, which has been under restoration for a number of years, which is a monster. And there's also the Moran Saunier MS315, which is a very rare aircraft, and it's one of 3 in the world.
The 2 new planes will be restored 150 miles away on this airfield in Lincolnshire by veteran engineer Jerry Cooper and his assistant Lewis.
Right, here we go then, chaps.
Today, they're unloading the Moran Saunier MS315, a pre-war French fighter trainer that's just arrived on a trailer.
Get it off, and get the wheels back on it so that we can manoeuvre it. Because it's a bit of a big old thing to have hanging around with no wheels on.
Jerry trained as an engineer in the RAF, became a pilot, and has been restoring historic aircraft for a living for 20 years. Some dating back to the First World War.
We've done it so many times now, we just don't think about it, you know. Everything that's in this hangar has been trailered. In fact, this came in from France. We brought this in from France, trailered it. There's only 3 of these in the world.
It's had a dramatic life. One hot day 2 years ago, it was at the centre of a life-or-death emergency over the holiday beaches of Devon.
That doesn't sound good, does it?
No, he's landing on the beach and they better clear.
What happened next was captured on camera by holidaymakers.
People, you better clear the beach.
With total engine failure, the pilot has seconds to find a patch of shingle clear of tourists.
They had to drag it right up the beach until they just got it high at the high tide mark and started dismantling it to get it out of the way. Everybody walked away from it. It's when they don't walk away from it you worry.
Now Jerry and Lewis must rebuild the damaged plane and remove all traces of its dramatic landing.
It landed on a pebble beach. And inside here we've got a pebble stuck and the actual V part there. I suppose there's at least sort of over half a ton on it, I would think, at the moment.
The first stage of the rebuild is to lift the fuselage and put it back on its wheels.
Now you're getting the weight off it. That's okay. You're off, aren't you? We get the chain off it, move this out of the way, and then we get a crane, and we'll lift one side at a time, put the wheel on.
The team must examine every component for crash damage, but there's remarkably little.
Yeah, so basically, that's it.
Jerry makes the next stage sound simple.
We'll put it together, put all the panels and things back on it, get the battery charged up. Then we're ready for the wings. We haven't got any brakes to worry about, nothing like that. Just a bit of grease around everywhere, make sure all the controls at the back are working, and all the cables are tensioned correctly, and off we go.
Back in Northumberland, Sam and Richard are hard at work raising the money to pay for the restorations. They are borrowing the Marin from Jerry, but buying the big N3N biplane and selling fuel to weekend flyers is a major part of their business.
Sam is basically my best friend. We've spent the last 5 years pretty much not being separated for a minute of the day, building up our business together.
We both met when we were learning to fly, and we bounce off each other really well. He's certainly got strengths that I haven't got, and that's why we're a very good pair in business, and it's worked out very well.
Okay, happy with that, yeah?
The team believes it's time Eshert's rich history was recognised.
The site originates from the war. It was a Spitfire base. To have such a historic airfield with historic aeroplanes would be fantastic.
They want to use some of their old planes to give pleasure flights over Northumberland's holiday coast.
The next step for us is sort of showing those aircraft to people who wouldn't normally have got a chance to see them, because a lot of these things are just tucked away and they don't get seen, and that's really sad.
And airline pilot James can't wait to test fly their new Warbirds.
It's a full audio-visual experience. It can be quite overwhelming as well. You've got 100-mile-an-hour wind buffeting you as well, all the noise of the engine right in front of you. It's quite a sensation.
Back in Wickenby, Jerry is juggling work on both planes destined for Eschert. The N3N is the biggest challenge.
It was manufactured in '42. The Navy used it to train their pilots for their fleet. This one went to Pensacola, spent all the war years in Pensacola, and at the end, I think it was about 46, 47, it was put up for sale. And it went to a crop spraying company who took the original engine out, put a big 450 horse Pratt & Whitney in it, big wheels off a BT-17, and off it went crop spraying. George Bush was trained in one before he went on to torpedo bombers. They do have a story to tell.
It usually takes about 10 hours instruction in the air to fit a cadet for going it alone.
The floatplane version of the N3N helped train thousands of American naval aviators for the bloody war in the Pacific following the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941.
It has been completely stripped back to the bones. In fact, they took pounds and pounds of dust from Arizona out of it. There was some rot in the back end of it, from when it crop sprayed, so all that was rebuilt. We've completely restored all the fabric on it, and we're now finding new instruments for it. And the top wing is a complete wing, so you get 2 cranes to lift it up high enough to get it on top of the aeroplane again. Next thing is we'll paint it first, and then we'll start plumbing it up, and then the lads can start putting all their markings on it to put it back to how it was when it went to war, basically.
But there are problems on the horizon. De Marin's Gallic design annoys Jerry.
When it comes to aeroplanes, nothing's simple with the French.
And in the spray bay, a colourful gate crasher threatens the N3N's flawless finish.
Sam, he's down there, mate. Can you see him?
At Eschart Airfield in Northumberland, pilots Richard and Sam are about to head south to Lincolnshire to help out on the 2 vintage planes they are having restored.
We have 2 little Taylor monoplanes, VW powered, VW engine straight up a Beetle on the front, nice and cheap to run. It's about 1 hour 50 in the monoplane, whereas it's about 3.5 hours in a car. So the only limitation is I can just about take a sandwich in the back.
Richard and Sam are wingmen in more ways than one.
It's quite strange, obviously. Your best friend is also your business partner, so we'll go away from the airfield and then we'll still go and have a beer together. The girlfriends always say that we see each other more than they see us.
Wickenby, good afternoon to you. It's Golf Bravo Delta Alpha Golf in formation with Golf Bravo Delta Alpha Delta.
The plane's new operators are arriving to paint the N3N and restore its wartime markings.
So what's the plan today? We've just had the yellow applied to the wings and the tail currently. So we're just in the process of putting on the US Navy markings for the aircraft at the minute. We've just got to wait for the fuselage to be painted and the bottom wing as well. We'll be doing those in a little while, and then once that's done, it's basically making sure that all the inside of the airplane's kitted out properly, that all the instrument panels are fully configured again.
Among the Navy's planes,
none is more famous than the N3N, the primary trainer affectionately known as the Yellow Peril.
They really were built like a tank, and they do all sorts of crazy things with them. They actually ended up being the last biplane in service with the US forces.
That's the numbers for the side, 228.
They only have old photos as a guide to where to paint the serial numbers and America's red, white and blue Navy stars.
And just come under there. Yep. We'll spray red, so they're going to be painted red, and we'll paint a big red section in the middle of this mask. On top of this mask, there'll then be the next mask, which will cover over just the red, so we'll leave a red circle in the middle. So red gets covered, spray the white, then the white gets covered with the star, and we paint the blue.
It's going to be a long job, waiting for coats of paint to dry. So the customers are going to get stuck in and lend engineer Jerry a hand. Strapped to Jerry's trailer are the Morin's wings, retrieved from a barn in Devon, where they've been stored since the accident.
How many do you need, Jerry? 4? Is 4 enough?
What? Yeah. Clonk, come on, do your bit, clonk.
The wings are covered in fragile fabric and require gentle handling.
It's a huge wing.
This is a rare bird.
It's 1932. There are only 3 of them left of this model. One in Switzerland, one in France, and this one here.
Tomorrow work starts on reattaching the wings. It'll be a big job. And Jerry must get to the bottom of the fault that led to that emergency landing on the beach.
Well done.
It had a bit of a contretemps about fuel consumption. So we need to do some fuel consumption tests, and then it'll be issued with its permit.
That is brilliant.
Back in the spray bay, the first coats of paint have dried, and the US Navy stars are emerging from the masking film on the N3N.
But it's not flown for decades, so it's, I'm sure it's very excited to get back in the air.
And when you're striving for paint perfection, even the smallest problem can spoil things.
He's not going to go now. Come on. If you do paint work properly, you will get something go wrong, and it'll be something like a butterfly landing in it after you've finished. Sam, he's down there, mate. Can you see him? He's stuck in the corner under the wing.
Thankfully, the butterfly makes an escape.
No, now he's gone. He's gone. Yeah, he's gone.
"24 hours later, the N3N is back in uniform after 75 years in civies.
There we go. Very good.
On the hangar floor, Jerry is about to attach the wings to the Morin's fuselage.
Okay, guys, I'm pulling it round. Hang on, you're on the fabric.
Each wing must be precisely positioned.
I want the leading edge up.
Under hangar dog Ben's watchful eye.
You'll be lying underneath the aeroplane doing something, and then you'll just feel this sort of nuzzling in the side of you and a big tongue coming and giving you a lick as you're working away underneath. A bit of a gentle giant.
I could do with a hammer or a mallet.
Lewis must align metal lugs on the wings with matching holes on the fuselage struts, then drive bolts into place.
Podger? Where's the podger?
I've got it here. I'm waiting for it to line up.
Oh.
To go up on the leading edge.
Right, just a sec. We're trying to get the main bolts in on the main plane.
Yeah.
It's different from most aeroplanes. This has got 2 in the root, and then 2 struts. So what we're trying to do is get the 2 top bolts in so that we can get the rest of the aeroplane to move and go from there. Nothing simple with the French. When it comes to aeroplanes, okay, if I saw a French engineer or designer, I wouldn't pee on him if he was on fire.
I'm in.
But eventually, both ends meet.
That's it.
Jerry owns the Morin, and he's lending it to the Escher team. He thinks planes stay in better shape if they're flown regularly.
I'm looking forward to seeing it fly. The lads at Yesuk can have it because they're looking for old stuff, and I just reminded them that if anybody likes it and are interested in it, it's for sale.
As you can see, I have too many already.
It's taking longer than expected.
We've got another one on this side to go, and then we're putting the front two in.
It could be very late today, the way it's going. As you can see, looking at it now, it's leaning. Just the one wing on it now has put the other side up about 1.5 feet. So if you think we had problems this side, wait until we get the other wing on.
Now more holes must be lined up.
Ready? Yeah, when you are. I think it was pulled apart in a bit of a rush because the tide was coming in. So consequently, everything is not. It's not how we normally take an aeroplane apart carefully and mark it all and all the rest of it. So we're now stuck with a bit of a Chinese puzzle. All right, nice. Now relax. Go on. Yeah. Relax. There you go. Scene. Just keep there. It's an absolute to work on.
It's a new chapter in the Moran's eventful life. In 1940, she was being flown by the French Air Force. When the Germans invaded, her pilots dismantled her and hid the pieces in barns. Jerry rescued the remains 20 years ago.
I found it in a shed in the back of a hangar, and I'm a bit of a fool for old aeroplanes, especially when they're just lying, rotting. So I brought it back, but the wings had been stored in water at some stage, so it was all semi-rotten, and the fuselage was just 4 sticks and some wires. Wing forward, please, wing forward, wing forward, wing forward.
Restoring the plane was a family affair.
My daughter and myself worked on it and put it back together. Push, in. She was the driving force behind it, really. And when she used to help me with the stringing and the doping and all this sort of thing, and she used to tell me off terribly because I used to shy away from it. And used to drag me back to do another rib, Dad, you know, and murder, because it was standing up on its edge, or on its leading edge, 6 foot high, you know, and to try and get, you know, I had to pass the needle through and get it back and knot it, and it was murder, but then we did it. Hitting it upside down.
Jerry's daughter hand-painted the plane's distinctive logo. Sadly, she died soon after the plane flew again, and Jerry sees the Moran as part of her legacy. Now both wings are back on the Moran. It's time for Jerry to turn his attention to the N3N biplane's engine, a pre-war American radial with a reputation for being bomb-proof.
I've come across in my life engines that have thrown the barrel's completely off and still carry on running. It's incredible what they do until they pour all the oil out and then things go wrong, but they will carry on running.
In the 1930s, engine makers vied to build a reputation for reliability.
Most Pratt & Whitneys you come across have this emblem on them, but most of the emblems are missing because Pratt & Whitney always put a silver dollar behind the emblem, and every 1,000th engine they put a gold one in.
Much of the N3N is still a pile of components stripped out 20 years ago when Jerry bought the plane in America. But he knows where each goes.
It's rare to find someone with so much experience. I'm pretty sure he's surveyed pretty much all of the world, really, at some point. What he doesn't know isn't worth knowing, really.
It's a skill built on a lifetime in the cockpit.
Every time we go down, there's a different story. You know, we're just learning as much as we can from him.
We operated an XLRAF Argus in Zaire. 4,000 feet above sea level, the actual end of the runway was a cliff face.
An absolute gold mine down there, and it's quite a privilege to be involved with it. Just be around him and just picking up some of the stories of what he's done in the past.
We're at 24,000 feet over eastern Turkey where all the mountains are. There's fire, going like a shouting fire. But what had happened was his pipe had turned upside down and then the ash had dropped inside his bloody sleeping bag.
He's got sort of 4,000 hours just crop dusting, let alone everything else. So, yeah, really experienced guy.
Had a few engine failures and only had one serious when I got picked up by a dust devil and I got thrown through a row of trees. They went green and noisy for a while and came out the other side, and the leading edges were like sawtooth. And it was still flying, so we just carried on.
That was the best days of flying. Now you get these guys, they spend a bloody fortune, okay, it's because they want to be an airline pilot, and when they get there, all they do is sit there and twiddle a button and turn the radio's frequencies, and that's about it. They're not flying a bloody airplane anymore.
He'll need all his experience for the challenge that lies ahead, coaxing life back into the engine.
That's as dead as a doornail.
It's late spring at Wickenby, and in Jerry's hangar, it's a big day for the Moran. It's time to run the engine and test the fuel system, blamed for its dramatic landing on a holiday beach 2 years ago. It's a modern replacement for its original pre-war power plant.
The engines for this were Solmsons, and they stopped making Solmsons when France was overrun by the Germans. And at the end of the war, they never went back into production. What are you doing that for?
I'm just going to rotate it.
Jerry believes in authenticity. He chose a modern Australian engine because of its old-fashioned shape.
It looks more unique on old airplanes. All right, I mean, you get a lot of World War I airplanes now that are being built, but they have Lycoming 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder engines hidden in them. Whereas with this, you know, you've got a radial engine, so you've got cylinders sticking out, you know, got the round front face of it, so yeah. Ready again, one push.
It weighs nearly a ton.
Watch that wing clip, please, Jem.
Ready?
Yep. Right, full up we are about to receive. So master switch on, fuel pump on, okay? And fuel pump off for a second. Okay, then we're just going to turn it over for a few seconds. Clear prop!
But the engine is reluctant to fire.
Oh! That's as dead as a doornail.
Louis and Jerry suspect the battery.
Oh, sorry about that. That was a bit of a non-starter.
Perhaps a trickle charger will do the trick. And it's third time lucky.
It fires up nicely. Big puff of smoke like radials do. In here, look, everything's right. We've got oil pressure. We've got temperatures coming up. Good fuel pressure. In fact, the fuel pressure is sitting there at the moment. And yeah, cylinder head temperature, all that lot. So everything's good on it.
It's been a long project for the whole team.
2 years. Must be 2 years easily. So yeah, it's amazing.
It's another restoration, almost complete. The team are turning their attention back to the N3N biplane. Installing the engine controls and the sensor that supplies information to the pilot's airspeed indicator is the next task for Louis.
We're going to be doing all the piping work to these gauges. So before I can put all the piping to the back of them, it's good to clean them all up, make sure they're all cleaned and prepped. It checks for any defects, anything that's possibly wrong with them. I'm currently securing the pitot and the pitot static lines that run from the fuselage into the wing. Access. Access is the main problem, especially when it comes to aircraft. Anything aircraft related is always access. I've got to get my arm through a gap. It's probably about 3-4 inches wide. And then pinch some wire, which normally would be a really easy job.
There is a type thing on it. There's a name on the bloody thing somewhere, because we've had that out before. Huh?
Finding spares isn't easy or cheap. Jerry's wife, Jenny, spends hours looking for them.
Jerry finds out all the bits that are needed. He'll talk to Jen. Jen has a fantastic ability of finding things.
We need bolts to hold the fairings on. If we buy them in this country, they're 47 pence each, and we want about 280 odd. But if we go and get them from the States, they're 7 cents. which is ridiculous because that's about 5p. There are quite a few people now that are starting to pull these old aeroplanes out of barns and things and out of workshops. So yeah, it's knowing where to look and where to go for it.
But the Wickenby team don't just do this for money.
Everyone has that passion for something that they love doing. The light aircraft and old aircraft and the unique things are just what I love doing. I just enjoy it. I can't see myself doing much else, if I'm honest with you. Have I got anywhere that I can put my foot?
No.
The huge fuel tank holds 40 gallons, but it hasn't been checked since the 1970s.
Twist it through 90 degrees. It was put in before it was serviced, so we're just taking it out to make sure. We're looking to see if there's any corrosion inside it, you know, any dirt and rubbish inside it.
But there's a problem. To get it out, Lewis must first remove part of the instrument panel.
These things are sent to trials.
Well, most things aircraft are easier said than done. I've got it.
Okay. And then I will come around again and take it from the other side.
Jerry's in his late 70s, but he has no plans to retire, just slow down a little.
I've done enough damn flying. I'll get my kick now out of putting all the aeroplanes back in the air. So once I know it's not going to kill anybody and I'm happy with it, then I'll move on to the next one. It's been opened up. Okay, and it's been opened up, so the previous people that had it have had it opened up and so they could look inside and see what was going on.
Old sediment or a loose piece of metal inside the tank could cause an unsurvivable crash. Inside, there could be a serious setback.
Golf Alpha, Golf from Golf Alpha Delta. Can't wait to see the progress on the N3N.
Yeah, what do you think they're going to have done? Much progress?
The Escher team are heading south again. It's 6 months since Richard and Sam started negotiations to borrow the Moran. Since they last saw it 4 weeks ago, its wings have been attached and it is ready to fly.
Wow, okay.
That's looking fantastic. Wow, it's huge. Are you going to climb in?
Let's give it a go.
Oh, that's a challenge, isn't it? Yeah. It's actually a really, really long way up, that.
After their tiny monoplanes, they're going up in the world.
It's a really big cockpit. There's loads of room in here.
Yeah.
And I genuinely don't know what any of this says, so... Do you speak French?
I don't know.
This lever down here, that's the emergency fuel tank release.
Yeah.
So we don't touch that.
Yeah.
We're clear at the back there?
Yeah, you can.
It looks really nice. Really excited to give it a go. And we'll see how it flies.
For Richard and Sam, it's a dream that began with a chance meeting.
We were actually approached by Jerry, who said, I've got a strange aeroplane that's looking for a home for some time. We said, oh, what's that then? Oh, it's a Moran MS315. Same reaction as everyone else. What on earth's that? Never heard of it before. And then obviously, of course, went on Google, looked at the registration, thought, wow, that's amazing. And instantly went back and said, yeah, fantastic. So from there, you know, sort of fallen in love with what it is.
The Moran will share a hangar with her American cousin, the N3N biplane, which the team are buying for a high 5-figure sum.
They've been working on the oil system at the moment. They have been busy.
All the instruments are going in.
Next task is reinstalling the plane's ignition system and its magneto switch, which provides power to the spark plugs.
Yeah, it goes clonk, clonk. So hopefully we're going to completely overhaul that.
It's not going to be a cheap plane to operate.
We have our small Taylor monoplanes. They burn 9-10 litres an hour, nice and efficient. This is polar opposite. This just throws fuel straight out the exhaust, essentially. We think it'll probably be somewhere in the region of 70 to 80 litres an hour, but if we're doing aerobatics, the consumption's going to be considerably higher.
And that means the fuel alone could cost £150 an hour. But Sam's still looking forward to seeing it fired up.
This engine had been inhibited many years ago and hasn't turned, so it will be the first time in a number of years it's actually run. It's going to be a very, very smoky start, and I think there's a lot of people that want to come and see.
It's summer, and after 7 months' work, the Moran is now ready to fly.
So the plan is take her up, come back and check how much fuel she's using, and then that'll all get submitted onto the paperwork and sent off, and then hopefully we'll get the permit through soon after, and then we can take her home.
Airline pilot James will be at the controls as it takes off into the skies over Lincolnshire. He'll be cruising at barely 60 miles an hour, rather slower than the other planes around here.
You got the red arrows sort of fairly close to us there, lots and lots of jets flying around, lots of training going on. So yeah, you're going to have eyes on sticks, as they say, just looking around the cockpit all the time.
It's unique, that's the big draw to it. I mean, currently she's the only airworthy one in the world. There are another couple with the original engine, but they're rather unreliable and parts very scarce to come by, so they hardly ever fly, and I don't think they're flying at the moment.
This test flight isn't without risk. The Moran's emergency landing on the beach apparently happened when the pilot ran out of fuel after just half an hour in the air. There may still be a fault, despite work to modify the fuel system.
We've done a fair bit of engine ground running. Now we need it in the air so that it can do what it normally does and cruise around what it normally does, and we can then check it after the end of each hour and see how much fuel it has used.
So mags on.
So mags on, pull the thing
pull
out.
the tip.
Yep.
James will be staying close to the airfield as a precaution. The risks are real.
Oil pressure is coming up nicely now, so if we're all clear, we'll move off. Okay, runway's clear ahead. Here comes the tail.
If the engine or the fuel system fail again, James will have seconds to find a field
And we're airborne.
and perform a dangerous emergency landing.
We're flying and away we go.
This is a real test flight.
I can feel her being blown with the wind. Not the fastest machine in the world.
Jerry's happy. A new generation of pilots shares his passion for keeping old warbirds in the sky, even if most modern flyers don't.
They like putting their nice flying suits on and going flying at the weekend. It doesn't suit their image if they got streaky oil-covered flying suits. But it's good, it's real flying, so it should be.
That's all rather relaxing, really.
The main thing we're trying to do is cruise, so we want to get an hour in the cruise. We'll probably stay within sort of 10-15 minutes of the actual airfield in a bit of a radius around, just in case any little hiccup stops happening, we can get back quickly.
Usually James flies a Boeing 737. Today, he's trying to get the hang of 1930s air travel.
Easterly wind today with a bit of a headwind at the moment. Ground speed around 45 knots.
It'll be exciting, but you've just got that sense that you want to look after it and be gentle with it. And that first time that you fly it, you've got that in your mind.
2,000 feet up, James is finding beauty in this ungainly pre-war relic.
Lovely swept back parasol wing. That's good turning ability. I'll put one in to demonstrate. There's Wickenby again.
After 45 minutes in the air, it's time to head back to the runway.
Most pleasant. A few little lumps and bumps. Cloud base is around about 1900-ish feet.
The good news is the Moran's fuel problems appear to have been solved. There's still plenty left in the tank.
The book figure says about 27 litres an hour, so I haven't found out exactly what it was yet, but it wouldn't be too far off. And that's pretty economical, really. I think she's a 150 horsepower engine, so it's not bad going.
It's using what we thought it was going to use, but just under 30 litres an hour, and yeah, it's nice to have it back in the air again.
They're like time machines. As soon as you sit in them and you grab the controls, you've got that instant tactile touch back to the past.
The team must now fly another 5 hours of test flights before the Moran is signed off as airworthy. For Jerry, it's time to turn back to the big biplane and get it back into the air for the first time in 40 years. At Wickenby, the team are starting the last lap in the marathon restoration of the N3N biplane. The fuel tank proved a bigger problem than Lewis expected.
What we've done is removed the original primer, and we've found an area of corrosion up on the top here. So the corrosion was removed, and we've replated the top section, as you can see. I don't think this one's been used in 60 years. So it's rather important that we test it and make sure that it holds.
Within a couple of weeks, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to turn this over and fire it up.
We'll get the fuselage tank back in and then hopefully run it. And she's going to be the most powerful aircraft on the LAA register at the minute, the 985, generating 450 horsepower. So it may take a little while to get the paperwork done. And then hopefully looking to test fly and get the permit issued in the spring.
That's the front. Yeah, that's the front.
It's time to reinstall the fuel tank.
As you can see, it's a bit of a lump to get in.
It's a tight fit, with only centimetres to spare.
Unless it comes up perfectly vertical and drops down through, you never get it in. It needs to go down in front of that strap there. Just ease your side panel out. And it's going down now. That's it.
For Lewis, this veteran of the Second World War is a time machine.
You know, this is, what, 1943 and 1996. And the amount of souls that have been in and out of this, learning everything they know.
You can put the tank straps on now, yeah.
Just the electrics and the fuel system to connect before the engine can be fired up for the first time.
And just wait for the bang. I still have to warn the police because there's, you know, a big smoke screen over bloody Lincolnshire when it fires up.
In the skies over Yorkshire, there's an unusual sight. The Moran is going home, in formation with Richard and Sam.
Looking at it now, you wouldn't even know what year it was. Look at it, it just looks so old.
It does look really old. It almost looks like something from the First World War.
I feel like I'm seeing it in black and white as I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like something out of a 1930s poster, doesn't it? It's beautiful.
It's 150 miles to Northumberland and the team's base at Eshet Airfield. And at this speed, it'll be a long haul, almost 3 hours.
So what speed we got here on the ground? I mean, we've got 65 in the air.
Yeah, 65. Well, with that headwind, we're about 60 miles an hour, probably.
For airline pilot James, it's a chance to reflect on the Moran's romantic past in pre-war France.
It's a 1932 aeroplane, this one. It feels, really that you're taking it back in time, to when, flying was all new and exciting.
It is mad to think it is the only flying one left anywhere.
Hidden under the noses of the occupying Germans, only to be abandoned for decades in a leaking hangar, the Moran's story is now entering another chapter.
Yeah, she was in a hell of a state when Jerry found her after the war, and look at her now, perfect.
Absolutely brilliant. She's a survivor, really.
Back in Lincolnshire, Jerry's hit a big setback on the big biplane.
The bit that's missing goes on here. Goes on there, okay, underneath. We're waiting for a carburetor scoop to come so that we can connect up the inlet air. This thing's so powerful that when we try and run it, if we didn't have a scoop and a filter on it, would suck all the rubbish underneath the airplane up into it.
It means the N3N will not be joining the Moran in Northumberland for some time.
I'm not going to turn the key on it until it's right.
But one long-forgotten relic of aviation history is now back where she belongs, in the air.
Well, this is my toy shop. I love taking a heap of rubbish or a heap of tubes or a piece of wood, okay, and turn it into an airplane. Silly thing I know, okay. I don't know anything else. Not bothered about anything else, As you can see, I'm surrounded by airplanes. I'm in heaven.
And in her new hangar, the Moran is turning heads, slowly.
I think it's because it's so old. People find it so fascinating.
And obviously with it being unique, that's great as well. But lumbering is probably the word I would use still, and it's quite laboured. But then once it gets going, and you've worked out quite what you need to do with your feet, because it seems to do things that other aeroplanes don't do, but once you've worked it out, it's great. And you can just have a lovely relaxing flight with it and just sort of float around in this sort of big armchair, basically. It's brilliant.
Everyone loves it here. The sort of reception in Northumberland when it came was fantastic because no one had seen anything like that up here. It's very rare in Northumberland to have such a historic aeroplane. So we found people just turning up to come take pictures of it. We find that people are sending the airfield photographs just from being on the ground when it flies over, which is brilliant. You know, that shows that the appetite's there for what we want to do, to have the historic museum. And when things do develop that way, the people will come.
We're lucky here. It's absolutely stunning. The scenery is really incredible. You've got a bit of everything. You've got coastline with these amazing beaches and cliffs, and you've got, you know, all these lovely little islands dotted around off the coast, all these incredible castles, the hills with Cheviots just behind the airfield there as well. It's really quite a stunning place to fly over. It's pretty unlike anywhere else in England anyway.
The wait for the N3N goes on, but passengers are queuing up to ride in the new plane.
There's a lot of interest for it. She's still not quite ready yet. But once we get her up here in the next few months, I'm sure she's going to be kept pretty busy because she's not like everything else that you can fly, certainly out this end of the country.
When they were built, heroes like Charles Lindbergh and Amy Johnson ruled the skies. But the planes of the 1930s are still writing history over Britain, thanks to dedicated engineers and skilled pilots. These are the planes that won wars, proud veterans of the days when heroes fought in the skies.
They're like time machines. It seems that you grab the controls, you've got that instant touch back to the past.
In hangars and workshops across Britain, engineers and enthusiasts are fighting a desperate duel against corrosion.
It's only glued on. I'm sure it'll be all right.
And the clock.
I'll be pretty gutted if we don't make it.
Their mission? To return historic military aircraft to the skies.
The hardest thing is finding the parts.
From D-Day vets to jump jets.
As a little lad, you go, Mum, can I have an airfix kit?
Bloody fantastic.
From legendary lifesavers to Edwardian flying machines.
I've been told I can only fly it as high as I'm prepared to fall.
But it can be an unpredictable business.
If we have a catastrophic failure, then come and try and rescue us.
You're taking off thinking if the engine stops, where are you going to land? I mean, I've had 3 engine failures.
It takes serious money.
You need a cool £3 to £6 million to get a good spare part.
And total dedication.
Minus 28. Some of the tools are freezing up.
15 minutes of holding a screwdriver, you can't feel your fingers.
This time on Warbird Workshop.
If it flew in 1911, it'll fly now.
A 10-year quest.
Be able to turn pieces of wood into a finished structure and to see it work, it's going to be a wonderful thing.
Those magnificent men in their flying machine.
To rebuild the first seaplane flown by the Royal Navy.
I just can't wait to see the thing taking off.
The future Prime Minister's pet project.
Winston Churchill said that, frankly, there's a war coming down the pipe and they had to do what they had to do.
Takes off once again. Windermere, tranquil heart of the Lake District, where the only ripples are caused by the cabin cruisers. But 110 years ago, this was the place where a military revolution began.
But very few people are aware that Windermere's aviation heritage started a long time ago in 1911.
The Edwardian Royal Navy was facing a growing threat from Imperial Germany and its fleet of dreadnoughts.
German ships maneuver in the cold waters of the North Sea.
But a young politician called Winston Churchill decided to bankroll a radical civilian experiment that could give our ships an eye in the sky. It was called Waterbird, and it became the testbed for the UK's first military seaplanes.
Well, it's a part of history. It's the first successful seaplane in England. There were quite a number of aeroplanes that attempted to fly off water, but most of them crashed on trying to return to it.
Now veteran engineer and Warbird restorer Jerry Cooper is leading a £200,000 project funded by a charity to make Waterbird fly again.
It was flown by a Navy pilot, and a serving naval officer, and it was quite a successful aeroplane. It was destroyed by a gale in 1912.
It's October 2010, and in a workshop in Lincolnshire, the first parts of an Edwardian flying machine are being machined by craftsman Mike Sales, who applied for a mysterious job.
Initially the job was advertised as cabinet maker, so I had no idea it was on an airfield or anything. It just said Lissington, so I had in my mind making a nice piece of furniture for somebody. It's such a unique project that it's hard to give it a category really. It's just, I am his woodworker to do this plane, you know, simple as that.
The fabric needs to wrap, you see, so the fabric will come over and around here.
So you're saying this needs a bit of compression with it?
It shouldn't really.
Mike and engineer Jerry must guess some details of the plane.
Just a matter of drilling holes through it and then setting it up. All right? As we're building this, we're building up test pieces as well, so that we've got a test section of the main spar. We'll get a design engineer to go through it with us, and when we submit his results to the Civil Aviation Authority, and hopefully they'll go along with us. I've already spoken to them, and they said, start building. Luckily, we have an observer's book from World War I on how to put all these airplanes together. So they tell us an awful lot.
The original Waterbird was built for Lakeland aristocrat and soldier Edward Wakefield by the Avro Company. Herbert Stanley Adams was its pilot. The aircraft they're recreating was 37 feet long and had a wingspan of 42 feet. Based on an American design, it used techniques that blended simplicity with strength.
It's a wonderful thing. It just looks brilliant because it's 100 years old. Yeah, it's a very skeletal thing, much like the Wright brothers plane with a massive float underneath it. And to be able to turn pieces of wood into a finished structure and to see it work, especially off the water, is going to be a wonderful thing, you know.
It's a labour-intensive operation. Each wing rib is cut from spruce and Douglas fir by hand.
6 ribs ready.
The team have only copies of a torn blueprint dating back a century to guide them.
In order to get enough, or as many ribs as possible out of the large billet of spruce we started with, they're marked out with a template and a biro. Each piece is cut out vertically, can then be cut horizontally to get 6 ribs out of each. We've got about 60 ribs to make. As the drawing shows it at certain intervals, compression ribs are when 2 are paired up in this sort of fashion, which is glued in 3 sections to form a box. So it's a very strong beam, which carries the form of the central part of the strut. We'll follow that exactly and give you the profile of the wing. The wing itself is made of 2 spars of the main longitudinal beams. They have to have a series of slots routed. The ribs fit into the routed slots on the I-beam, and the whole thing is glued together as one unit.
It's June 2011, and in Jerry's hangar at Wickenby, among the more modern planes, the first parts of Waterbird are coming together for the first time.
Well, what we're doing is setting up so that we know what the thing's going to look like, what the concept is, how everything fits together roughly, and it's just so that we can actually make sure that we've got the right idea and what we're putting together is going to make sense in the end, basically. We need to get the thing all trimmed and everything, so we do that on land because we'll be tensioning wires and we're moving things around. It'll be very difficult to do in water. And then we'll convert it, or we'll convert it in here to take the floats and put the floats on it, and then we'll take it to Lake Windermere.
It's November in the lakes, and Jerry and his wife Jenny have come to see the shore that was home to the original Waterbird, and the waters where they'd like to fly the replica.
We're looking at Hill of Oaks, where it originally happened. okay, and just the history part of it, and looking for a site with which we can work with and get the thing airborne.
Before the First World War, this was where British naval aviation was born, and our first seaplane base was built.
There was a lot of area clear for a start. There were none of these trees around, and the sheds were here. It's what you can see what 100 years has done. It's just completely almost obliterated the place.
Jerry's been joined by lawyer and pilot Ian G., who heads up the charity paying for Waterbird's rebirth, and retired naval officer Adrian Legg.
That's the original wall there. Yeah. This has had what 100 years to grow.
Overgrown, but it's the walls.
These are the ruins of Waterbird's hangar.
Those are the structures that orientate yourself to the original naval air station.
Ian believes he and Jerry are following in the wake of Edward Wakefield and the pioneering pilot who was brought here to fly Waterbird.
Herbert Stanley Adams was originally down at Brooklands, where he'd learned to fly there. And it was there that Edward Wakefield met him and brought him up here to this amazing adventure that he had no experience at all. So Jerry is the combination of that spirit and innovation and his skills. All those things pulled together to be a repeat of what was done over 100 years ago, and it will be a wonderful experience, and we're so very grateful for everything he's done.
In the next few months, Jerry's team must cover Waterbird's wooden skeleton.
It's all very time consuming, but very rewarding.
And the descendants of the aviators who first flew it come to visit the replica.
This was where it began, and so it really is quite remarkable.
It's almost a year since work on Waterbird started, and in Lincolnshire, joiner Mike is recreating an Edwardian pilot's seat.
It's steamed. You need to be quick because you've literally got a couple of minutes before you've got that give. Just glued up a series of 3 or 4 layers with glue in between each. Aluminium, a piece of aluminium which is bent to the outside of the curve is then curved, so you've got the former on the inside, it's pulled round with the glue between each one. It's very strong, it's not going to go anywhere.
Waterbird didn't even have a seatbelt. And the charity is in an equally vulnerable position. Money is tight, and fundraisers have brought in TV news to publicise the appeal. Ian has invited 3 descendants of the original Waterbird's champion and 2 of its pilots to see the newly assembled skeleton.
I'm here to introduce Tennyworth, Lord Lieutenant of Lincolnshire, to Waterbird, because Waterbird was flown by his grandfather within a month of my Uncle Edward making the first successful seaplane flight in the British Empire. Within a month, the Navy were fascinated to see what was going on here. Sent their young Lieutenant Arthur Longmore to test it, and he was so pleased with it that within 2 months, my great Uncle Edward was contracted by the Royal Navy to produce floats.
When Waterbird flew, Britain was 3 years off the start of the First World War. Without radar, the Royal Navy was blind to enemy shipping beyond the horizon. Winston Churchill decided that what he named a seaplane would give his admirals a crucial advantage. Back in the Lakes, the arrival of the top-secret military experiment was not popular with the area's most famous residents, including children's author Beatrix Potter.
The teeth of opposition from Beatrix Potter and Canon Rawnsley, who was founder of the National Trust, they put up 100,000 signatures, but Winston Churchill said that, frankly, there's a war coming down the pipe, and they had to do what they had to do.
Then you have a wire from there out to that strut.
Yep. My grandfather was sent by Winston Churchill to look at the Waterbird, which was being built at that time, on Windermere, and to take it off to fly it to see whether it would be suitable for the Royal Naval Air Service. Mad as chips, but they had a lot of spirit about them. They wanted to do all these things. But it was very different in those days for people who had learned to fly, because if the engine cut out, whenever it was, well, you could just sort of glide down and land in the nearest field. I think it's absolutely wonderful what he's been able to do with bits of spruce and bits of Douglas fir, and I just can't wait to see the fabric on there and all doped up and the thing taking off. I was told that we needed to get some more money, but the money will turn up eventually. Where there's a will, there's a way, and it'll be fantastic when it takes off.
It's had a little bit of weight. I have my grandfather's original flying license, which was number 72, and he lived to see a man go to the moon. So just quite sort of, almost you can't almost sort of take it in, and yet this was where it began.
Today in the workshop, Jerry's rediscovering the skills Edwardian plane makers needed.
Now that we've finished all the stress analysis and we've modified the structure to bring it up to modern standards, we're going to cover the top wing. We'll be using a modern fabric Diatex, which is French, which will last at least 25 years. We'll start by laying the fabric across the top of the main plane, using adhesive to stick it to the leading edge, and then we'll pull it and push it around until we get it laying nice and tidily on the surface.
This material will be much more durable than the original covering in 1911.
Then we will heat shrink it to get it in position, and then we'll string it. After it's strung, we'll dope it, tape it, and put 7 coats of various dopes and things on it to get it up to standard.
It's a technique as old as aviation itself. Half engineering, half tailoring.
All I'm doing now is I'm just measuring 2 inches in from the edge so that I can get a straight edge to stick it down. So I put adhesive from there to there, and then I'll stick it down. Then later when we turn the wing over, I'll finish turning that around the corner and sticking it and then trim it off. It's all very time consuming, but very rewarding. And you'll be surprised just how this actually stiffens up the structure. 5 minutes and we're ready to turn.
Waterbird was the product of an international race being led by the Americans to build a viable seaplane.
One of the earliest and most successful competitors of the Wrights was Glenn Curtiss, who built and sold many airplanes to the Army.
The Curtiss Company, who influenced Waterbird's design, were struggling to get their planes off the water, despite funding from the US Navy. So British engineers extended Waterbird's wings by nearly 6 feet.
You all right?
It gave her more lift, but weakened her structure. Jerry's ironed out this design flaw.
To you a bit. The bottom wings are exactly as it was built on the original at Avro, and the top wings, instead of having a join here, in order to make it stronger, we've actually incorporated the 5'8" extension in the main plane itself. So the spars go all the way through to make it much stronger. We'll go through the same procedure on this side as we did for the other side, and we'll get it set up ready for the back end of it to be strung tomorrow or to be sewn tomorrow afternoon.
Back in Jerry's hangar, the wooden framework where the pilot sat is being put together to see if the centre section of the wing fits.
We're going to try and assemble the centre section and put some bracing wires in it so that we know where we are and everything's level, and then we can start putting the centre section together, because we've got all the tubes and things to go on, and we've got the centrepiece to go in and all the undercarriage and things to put on it. When we start putting the wings on and that sort of thing, we need the whole thing level so that we can set up all the incidences of the wings and the dihedral and everything. So you have to have somewhere to start, and when you come to a biplane, if the centre section of the biplane is not square, nothing else is. Put it on there.
If today goes badly, it could set them back weeks.
You can give us a shove in a second, Dave. Okay, Dave?
It's the moment of truth.
Ooh.
The sockets built into the wing must fit the supporting struts precisely.
Okay, that's two. Right, now you've got a front one. You've got a front one there, Dave.
On the top. Yes, okay, just a moment. I'll go around to the front.
Yeah. We've just got this one. This side is catching.
So far, so good.
Yes.
It fits, Only a minor correction is needed.
We've got a fitting, and the bolt goes through the spar, and on the top there's a nut and a big washer. So we're actually hitting the bolts, not the actual wing. So all we were doing really was just tapping the brackets on. So all the force we put on it is always on the brackets, as much as we can.
Waterbird's strength will come from a web of wire cables supporting the wings.
It's amazing, you know, when you look at a bridge, with all the cross sections of a bridge, which take all the stress and strain. They do the same thing in an aeroplane with wire. So you get like a bridge construction, but in wood and wire.
Right, you need to tighten that one.
In order to do this, every wire has to have a tensioner in it, and so we have them in all directions, and we have to put the airplane together, and with clinometers and straight edges and all this sort of thing, we have to make sure that everything is the same all the way through by tensioning up the turnbuckles to align it all.
69 3/4. All struck there, Dave. We'll try and get that one. The next cables we're going to do are the what we call the drag braces from the top to the bottom here. What happens is when the airplane is on the ground, these cables take all the weight of the wings, etc. When it's in flight, it's the ones from here up to the top here which take all the weight. We've got 200 metres of cable to go on it, and I don't think it's enough. Right, 69 3/4. This one just needs to go a little bit tighter.
After 5 years, the heart of Waterbird is at last taking shape. An Edwardian flight of fancy come to life. On the shores of Lake Windermere, the restoration team are trying to solve the mystery of the wooden float that made Waterbird revolutionary. It borrowed a trick used on early high-speed launches.
It's the first time in the world that they used a stepped float, and the big thing was the difficulty they had was to get the aeroplane to unstick from the water. So we need to know that will work, and we're having the float specially designed, and the big thing is that the testing on the water, and that it will actually then take off and all come together. So yeah, heart in mouth really.
The details of the float's construction are sketchy, but Lakeland boat builder James Pearce is using photographs and a blueprint to guide him.
We've been building vessels for over 30 years, and so basically a float is a boat. A lot of the skills are transferable. The starting point was building a float that was as close to the original as possible in character, but our brief was that if there was anything we could do to either make it safer or to make it more suitable with modern techniques that weren't available back then it was worth doing. So the float has been designed using computer software so that we could create possibly a superior structure to the original.
Then, out of the blue, there's an unexpected discovery. Amazingly, the original float has been gathering dust for 40 years in an annex of the RAF Museum.
We have the lake's Waterbird, or the sole remains that were donated to the museum in about 1971. They came from the Lord Wakefield estate along with some other archive material. The float, which is probably the one in best condition, was on display for a short time at the RAF Museum at Hendon, which, once the full sort of display had been arranged, was taken off and stored. And it's been with us, along with its fellow spares or components, for some years now.
We went down to the RAF museum where it's all been kept, and we took our original measurements from the original float that is existing there, or what's left of it, to create the drawing for this. And something that we found quite interesting is that measuring things like the thickness of the side walls of the original float, it doesn't correlate with the dimensions that are in all the documentation of it. So, which makes you a bit sceptical about the weights that they said things were, and possible the overall weights of things as well. I think some of it might have been partly guesswork by the Admiralty when they did their testing.
If something as basic as that is incorrect, what other problems await the team as they follow Edwardian plans and data that may not be accurate?
It's that long. It's only that long.
Oh, right, well that would go.
Probably, you know.
And how wide?
Only 600 wide, so it's...
Project leader Ian and fellow committee member Adrian have come to see work in progress. If the dimensions of the float are wrong, Waterbird could sink.
This is where we're at anyway, so at the moment it's kind of tacked together.
Yeah.
I'm going to run glass tape around all, because at the moment these aren't joined.
Yes. Yeah.
So I need to abrade the epoxy, epoxy fillet them, glass fibre tape in all the joins.
Yeah.
And probably just varnish all these just to make sure that if water ever does get in, it won't just rot. Or I should probably epoxy coat them.
So where's Jerry going to be able to stand?
What I'm going to do is basically build a deck which goes, it goes from the front to this frame.
Yes.
So it'll just be a 2-inch, so that'll mean all of these will be strong to stand on.
Yeah.
And
If the float sprang a leak, the original Waterbird would have sunk to the bottom of Windermere. There were no watertight compartments. But James has modified the design to prevent this happening.
We've decided to go for a fairly open construction, which will be completely watertight with the doped canvas top. A lot of people have been generous with their time for this project, but the problem is materials are quite expensive, and so getting the funding towards that is part of the battle. So there was a moment when I thought that things, it was a dream of a man that, and it wouldn't happen. But I'm very pleased to see that this has all come together.
Back in Lincolnshire, Jerry and Jenny have begun coating the wings with dope, a specialist varnish.
All I'm doing is stitching the edge of the wing, putting the two edges together and bringing the wire in so that I stitch the wire into the end of the wing so that when he dopes it, the wire doesn't disappear up through it and it's all attached into the end here. So all we do is come across this edge with basic blanket stitch and wire it all in.
We're about to sail into this good old stringing campaign, which will take a while and which we really do love. Jen sits one side, I sit the other, and we just pass it to and fro to one another.
The dope tautens the fabric. The stitches stop it being ripped off by the air rushing past.
Go on in.
Hey?
Yep.
Yes.
We're really getting into it now, and we've only one more main plane to do. Everything from then on in is small, very small and very easy to look after. So lots of stitching for Jen, but very easy for me.
It's spring, and it's a big day at the hangar.
Go on, up on your side, up on your side, up.
The propeller was designed and machined by computer. And Waterbird has been given some modern muscle.
You want to hit it here.
The engine arrived from Australia. This is a Rotec 2800, 110 horsepower. The original flew with 50, so we've given ourselves just a little bit of extra just in case. Make sure the prop's right and goes on, and it does. Next thing we have to do now is to wire it all and put the filters in, tanks. Dave's doing tanks at the moment. One oil tank, one fuel tank, and then start plumbing it all in.
It's time to fit the outer wings for the first time, too.
Towards you a bit, Dave. Tops in, bottoms in.
The shrinkage caused by doping fabric can pull wings out of shape.
No, just go back a bit.
An accurate fit is critical.
This whole left port side's got to be done the same manner as that with the struts and top wing. The large ailerons and the small ones have both got to be covered yet.
Tight, yeah, tight. Loosen it. And that's it. Oh, well, that's got to pull up on that back one now to pull that in. That one? Yes. That's slack now, so that should go. So that one needs to pull up now. You see, by tightening this one in, we've actually pulled this forward.
Certainly, you can't help but be sort of impressed, but when you see what it is, it really reflects the time it was designed and made. It looks like something from that period because it's been made to basic drawings, but it's still using their photographs and their drawings. So, between my making the skeleton, Jerry and Jenny's covering the wings. It's quite impressive just to look at it, isn't it? It's half a decade ago, it was 2010, so for most of that time it didn't really look like it was going to be funded and be completed, so it would be great to see it come to fruition as a machine rather than just a handful of poles and bits of material. You know.
The next task is fabricating the bamboo poles that supported the control surfaces in front of the pilot, the canard as it's known.
It's down to obtain the bamboo for these large triangular supports for the canard and the tailplane. Tailplane's been made structurally but not covered yet, so they've got to be done and lightened hopefully.
This is roughly where the canard will be when it's rigged properly. Just basically an elevator, it's the front elevator. Normally elevators are on the back of an aeroplane, but on the early airplanes they put them on the front and they called it a canard.
Jerry was planning to use modern aluminium for the canards, but a transatlantic trip changed his mind.
It wasn't until I went to the Curtis Museum in America and talked to the people there that I'd found out you could still get this bamboo in long lengths. So we've gone through a whole load of tests with it, bending, compression, etc., and we find that we can use it. You would have thought that it would be difficult, but it was, I mean, they were doing it in 1910 and earlier, in fact. So once you know the method, then then it becomes quite simple.
Regulators at the CAA weren't so sure until Jerry supplied engineering calculations to prove it was safe.
It's much lighter and much more rigid than the other bamboo, the coastal bamboo for some reason. We discussed it with the design man and he likes this better. So this is what we're going to use. We've weighed each piece and it's all pretty much of a muchness. What we're trying to do is keep the weight of the aeroplane down. Because it's been stressed to a certain amount, we have to keep the weight within that limit. So we're about 5 pounds underweight on an estimate so far, so that's why we're keeping it going like this. You have an idea now that 2 of them are there. We need to get the brackets now, which are being laser cut, in order to put them into the ends of here with wood. We'll get a wooden plug which will go in there with a slot in it. Bracket will go in, and then we'll drill holes through it to hold it all together. It takes 3,000 psi to crush it. All right, so it's quite strong.
The team have also made and attached Waterbird's rudder.
This is the tailplane it sits on. We have a load of bracing to put in here, which goes to the top of the rudder, and as you can see, the rudder is quite large and does its job quite well, really.
But flying Waterbird from the waters of Windermere won't be easy. Flying an Edwardian seaplane is an art that is now forgotten. And after 50 years in the air, Jerry's had to go back to flying school.
So I now have to get a seaplane rating on my licence, so consequently I'm off to Cardiff this afternoon, ready for an exam tomorrow, and then I can do the flying afterwards, and that's the end of it, then get it on my licence. So, because you're able to land on water, and you need to know who has the right of way, and funnily enough, seaplanes right at the bottom of the list, so you give way to everybody.
Waterbird's first flight is ebbing closer. At Wickenby, the team have reached another major milestone. Ian and Adrian have arrived with the last missing components.
Cushion just to your left, Jerry. This morning is the momentous stage we have in our project for the delivery of the float.
On the trailer this morning we've brought the float and an enormous drawbar, because the drawbar has to be long enough to clear the elevator at the front of the aircraft. So it's a very long piece of kit. The float has been built by James over in Ambleside, so it fits exactly, locks onto the wooden sections of the trolley. And the idea is the whole aircraft will be launched down the slipway on this bogie.
Ready, Lazar? Here we go. The step needs to go by that piece of wood.
Making sure the float fits and they can launch the aircraft is vital preparation for her arrival at Windermere.
Age of Miracles not yet past, you know. That's approximately where it goes. Approximately. Right.
Now let's have a look at this piece.
This is principally the last piece in the jigsaw, and it's the largest of the pieces remaining, and we can now actually imagine how the whole thing might eventually look like.
Ian believes the project would have the full support of the pioneers who built Waterbird.
I would like to think that, you know, if they were looking down, that they would well approve of what we're about and what we're achieving, to celebrate what they achieved.
Jerry's brought in his assistant Remas to fine-tune the modern engine and its 21st century electronics.
2 magnetos and start. Push button for starting. Start engine. Nothing important. Very easy.
Things are going along quite well. The float's arrived and we're just finishing off the last of the small modifications we've had to do. Consequently, things are progressing quite well at the moment. I should think by next weekend we'll be finishing off here, hopefully.
But Jerry has an unexpected trip to take before he can fly Waterbird from Windermere. He must learn how to take off and land on water, tuition only available in Italy.
We're the only country in the world which asks for seaplane pilots to have a Seamaster certificate. So the only place left in Europe was Lake Como. So we made all the arrangements, turned up there. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd done 3 hours flying. I was totally shattered. And then 9 o'clock Thursday morning with the examiner. So by 10 o'clock, I had a seaplane rating. Absolutely shattered. 3 steps forward, 2 back.
It's September 2015, and 5 years after the first wood was cut, Waterbird is rolled out for the first time.
Finally outside, it doesn't look as big as it does inside the hangar, does it? It looks a lot smaller.
Waterbird is to be test flown from wheels. It's safer than trying to take off from water.
The aim this morning is to run, make sure everything's happening as it should. We might have a little problem with one of the circuits on the magneto side, but we can fix that. But just to make sure the engine runs. Those magnificent men in their flying machines, they go uppity up, they go down, flying around. Steps. Stay. Yeah.
It's time to fire her up. And with no brakes, there's no stopping Waterbird. But immediately, there's a hitch. Fuel doesn't seem to be reaching the cylinders.
What's next is to get it back in the hangar and then start on all the little problems the design engineers have left for us again, and that's it. So there we go, we'll just get on with it.
It's been a disappointing first run, and the next few weeks bring more bad news. CAA engineers are concerned about the strength of Waterbird's structure and want to examine the plane again.
We're getting close to the wire now. At the moment we're a little bit perturbed, and we'll find out about this tomorrow, because they're now suggesting that if we put a float on this aeroplane, the stress loads on landing on water are very high because it's solid. So that they're now a little bit concerned about it, but we'll talk about that tomorrow when they turn up and see what they have to say about all that. It means that we either completely redesign the aeroplane or we are going to have to re-stress the aeroplane. I don't know which way they're going to go yet. So we'll keep plodding on and getting as far as we can, and then see what happens. We'll hopefully fly it as a land plane whilst they get together, if they need to see what we're going to do about sorting out the float plane side of it. It's just another fight with authority, and I've got a drawer full of bollocks, so I'm not that worried about it.
The team are taking the opportunity to adjust the controls of Waterbird. It was one of the first aircraft to have the control surfaces that still steer aircraft today. rudder, ailerons and an elevator.
Still a bit more.
That's good, that one.
It's vital they move smoothly. Jerry's life could depend on it.
Okay, that's running fine now. That's beautiful. We're now setting up the rudder control, and then we have to line everything up so that it doesn't jump off the pulleys and things. You know, it's beginning now to take shape. If you tuck one edge in and hold it, tuck one
edge in?
One end in, that's it. The big thing will be to taxi it around, make sure it'll maneuver when it's responsive to the rudder, and get it on the runway or on a piece of grass, then accelerate it, and then just gently keep lifting it, see if we can lift the nose and how much response there is in the canard, and just gradually progress faster and faster until hopefully at some stage it leaves the ground. I've got to the stage now, I want to get it done and get on with something else because this is now taking up all our time.
It's a landmark day at Wickenby. After 8 years of work, they're going to try to fly Waterbird.
We've got to attempt to get some air between the wheels and the ground. I've been told I can only fly it as high as I'm prepared to fall, and that's what we're going to do. It's nice to see it finished. I mean, before it was just the framework sitting on top of the shelf. That was, 2 years worth of work went straight on the shelf. So we've got another, it's been the best part of a year now, putting it together like this, and so we actually have an aeroplane here now, for better or for worse. We brought in billets of wood, and every component in this was sought out. So it's been a long job that way. I'm quite happy with it. You know, I'm quite happy with our workmanship, and I'm quite happy with the design. If it flew in 1911, it'll fly now.
There's no crash protection, and Jerry's relying on controls that may not work below 40 miles an hour, if at all.
Okay, screw is on, head's on, master on. Clear? Yeah. Well, what we do first, we fire it up, taxi it around on the grass a little bit just to make sure, everything's hackling properly. And then we'll do a low power run. Another little hop across the runway down to the bottom end and then turn around, and then because there's no wind, we can come either way, any direction, and just keep going.
The sight of a 107-year-old plane on the runway is drawing a crowd. Jerry's confidence is growing. He's lining up for takeoff. Jerry's airborne. Now he must use all his experience to come down again without wrecking the plane or himself. And he pulls off the happiest of landings. It's a big relief for the pilot and his wife.
That was super. I actually enjoyed watching that fly. That was lovely. We've had to have a few alterations along the way, but we've overcome them, and tonight is an example of it. The guys have been unbelievable, okay? What they have pulled together and to do it is well, words cannot describe the effort that they've put into it. Jerry's belief in it, and also E&G's belief in it, has been second to none, and without that belief, they wouldn't have done what they've done. It's testament to the guys that have built it all the way along.
It's a culmination of a long time and a lot of aggravation, but there it is. There's quite a lot of aileron control on it, so that you can actually feel it wants to turn and it wants to do all these things. This is what's the annoying part, is because it looks so fragile.
People turn around and say, oh, that'd never fly, and it doesn't, but it does, and it flies fantastically, and it's responsive, it does everything it's supposed to do. So, you know, fantastic.
Right, backwards, please, back towards the door.
I feel great because it's showing them all their hard work actually works. You know, and that's it. I mean, the carpenter did all the woodwork on it, and then Rimmerset did all the engine and electric side of it. It's vindication of a lot of doubt and ha-ha-ho-ho stuff, you know, that it'll never fly, but now it does, so I'm going to go home with a gin and tonic, I think.
11 years after the first piece of wood was planed, Waterbird is prepared for a journey back to Windermere, where she first made history. After a series of funding problems and technical difficulties, this year it's hoped she will finally fly from water, the finale of an incredible endeavour.